Hey guys, hopping on to bring a message through today. Mudslide. Mudslide is the word, is the image that I keep getting over and over. That's what it feels like today. I'm going to talk a little bit about the astrology because I like to use astrology and the planets to bring conversation to describe the energy. I use astrology as a form of divination to validate what's going on. My ego likes to use it because it breaks down, logically what's happening and conceptualizes to make it digestible to work with it, right? So how do we work with this energy? So I'm going to bring in astrology. I'm going to bring in a lot of metaphors. And I think I'm going to pull a card to also just tie it all together with a sweet bow on top today. But there's a new moon in Virgo today. And so what has me thinking about this mudslide metaphor energy is, Virgo is an earth element. Virgo is one of the earth signs. And then not only do we have a new moon going on right now, which creates like a void, if you go out and look in the sky tonight, you're not going to see the moon. It's going to be black. So there's a void going on. So it's a really nice time to set intentions. The universe loves a void. So you are part of the universe. So filling that void with things that you're calling forward, but not necessarily time to take any action, right? The only real action that you're taking is calling forward the intentions in this brand new space that we're working with. So that's that new moon energy, connecting it to Virgo. Virgo also isn't, I just did a post about this. Virgo's like the process-oriented earth sign. Earth signs are about physical manifestation because it's dealing with the earth physical realm. And then Virgo is this kind of has no problem as she's moving through the process of attaining something or actualizing something or manifesting something, has no issue with discarding or tossing out what's not working or what's cluttering up the process. So anything that's in the way or kind of serving as like a dead weight to your overall process, that could be a physical thing, that could be a mental thing, that could be an emotional thing, energetic, could be a relationship, could be a behavioral pattern that just keeps you stuck in monotonous, unserving processes, right? That aren't serving the actual good or your destination that you're calling forward. So you have that Virgo energy, but then what's also happening, because there's always just a ton going on with the guys in the sky, is the moon and Neptune, planet Neptune, are opposing one another. So there's like a pressure point going on. And with a new moon, the sun and the moon are always right next to each other. So you have the sun, which is like our ego, our I am self. You have the moon, which is like our internal landscape, our physical and emotional needs, right? So you have those two sitting in Virgo, and then you have Neptune in opposition sitting in Pisces, okay? So we got this mudslide, earth and water, right? The thing with Neptune is he's a little bit of a wild guy. It's like this switchback energy. It's like this, again, if you think of yourself standing on a mudslide, like you think you're standing in the earth, but there's water mixed in there, so it's a little dicey, right? It could be smoke and mirrors. It could be looking at life through rose-colored glasses. So Neptune will dissolve things, and it can just make a really slippery surface, So there's a dissolving and a breaking down of the ego going on. So that makes me think of belief systems, right? That have been embedded in there for a long time. They're getting pulled out. Now, belief systems are tricky because depending on how long we've had them, like especially from our early childhood years, some of these belief systems have kept the structure together, right? Have kept the ego together, have given a sense of safety or an illusionary sense of safety, right? And so that's kind of what I'm sensing is being tugged on. And with that can come some emotion, can come some earthquakes, come some tsunamis, internally I'm speaking in more metaphors. So with that, I know for me, when I feel that pulse, I will armor up and get angry and a little bit pissed, and my warrior will come out to protect me, right? So you might be having some anger or some mood swings or some irritability, and just laying eyes on it all and just kind of observing it. But I will say that I was able to slow down and kind of pull back on my warrior energy and say, you know, let's take a look at this. What are we protecting? You know? And there was, what came up for me was a feeling of not being seen, not feeling appreciated, not feeling understood or heard, right? And I've been with these belief systems before, but this is a deepening. This is like, you know, where it's happening in particular in my chart is that Neptune is at the very bottom of my chart, which just translates to some deep stuff, right? Is being dissolved, right? That is connected to how I'm showing up in the present, right? How my ego has developed, right? So all in all, it's for the highest good. All in all, you know, I have this other part of me that's saying, you know, I want this and I desire this and right? And setting goals. And so it's like, we have to create space for that to come in, you know, and sometimes it can feel really confusing when that space is being created. And that's what I think this energy is, you know, and that really speaks to the new moon energy in particular. But yeah, that mudslide analogy is really coming forward over and over and over. So how do we work the mudslide, right? So for me, it was, I just had to sit down and like kind of stop fighting it, because every time I like went to fight it, my feet, kind of like a cartoon, my feet would just slip, you know, is what it felt like. And then I would just end up getting more frustrated, right? So there's a surrender being asked of you, of us, of me, with this energy. And so that can feel really scary to the ego, right? Because the ego is designed to help keep us safe, but sometimes the ways that it's keeping us safe are no longer necessary, no longer working, or outdated. And so that's good news, right? Because it means there's, like I said, a dissolving or a letting go happening. And so something new can come forward that's like evolving you, you know? This is an evolution process. We're evolving constantly, day in, day out, right? So this is an opportunity, if you don't get sucked into it or get into that blame energy or victim mentality, right? That's going to really slow you down and feel powerless. You're going to give your power away in that. You're going to feel stuck. You're going to feel small. So if you have gone there today, no need to shame yourself for it or beat yourself up for it, because that will just produce more of that. Instead, pull back and pause, right? Stop the feet from swiveling in the mud and make a mud pie. Play with it, right? Sit down in it. Don't be afraid to get dirty, but that might mean you have to let something wash through you, wash through the physical body and clear out. And that's exactly what I had to do to work with this energy today. Is I had to sit down, get out of any blame or, you know, suiting up in my armor. I had to de-armor myself and let it move through my heart. And then I got a clear vision of like what this ask really was. So that feels good to say. I hope it lands with you well. I'm going to pull a card just as a little treat on this moon day and to just put the icing on the cake. I'm pulling from my Starseed Oracle deck. Really beautiful cards. Really Neptunian and Pisces looking cards. They're just beautiful and pastel, and I just love them. All right, here's our card for today. Message of the day for you guys. What is wanting to come through? All right. See how beautiful these are? Oh my God, can't. So we got the golden children, and it says inner child, tenderness, innocence, and rare gifts. So how can you integrate your innocence around this? You know, and that's what came forward through me, right? It's like once I stopped fighting I had to drop into my heart and say, okay, what's wanting to be seen? And it was this, like, I'm not being seen, right? I'm not, those thoughts, right? I'm not being seen. I'm not being heard, like anger about that. I'm not being appreciated. You know, there was this part of me that was feeling that way, and I had to stop and hold compassion for it and literally be the thing, right, that I thought I wasn't. I had to be the appreciation for myself. I had to be the compassion for myself. I had to get tender. I had to let that, like, tender spot be seen. And it was just such a easier way through the energy than to, like, fight through it, to warrior through it. So connect with your inner child. Connect with your heart today. You can do that simply by laying down or sitting comfortably and like this. Put your hand on your heart. Just drop your head, tune in, and breathe for 5 conscious breaths, you know, and just ask your heart what needs to be seen, what needs to be heard, what needs to be acknowledged today, what needs to be held, and allow whatever presents to come up, you know, and hold space for it without any judgment. Sometimes easier said than done, you know. For me, sometimes I have to get to a point of frustration and anger before, like, I get enough cues on the external to, like, stop, pump my brakes, and then I can drop into that space, you know, because my first instinct, the anger wants to come first, the anxiety wants to come first, the, you know, blame wants to come first before this tenderness, before, you know, and all that is innocent, right? It's protective, it loves me, it's just kind of confused in the moment, you know, and there may have been a time where, like, acting that way really got me what I was looking for, you know, but not today, not in this mudslide energy. So work with it. Please comment below if you want to share your experiences and be seen and heard in this. And, you know, the other thing that this says is, like, rare gifts. So the thing that I found about integrating and working with not only my inner child, but these, like, softer, more tender parts of myself that I instinctually want to protect and shield from the world, as soon as I can soften into that, they come with so many gifts. They come with such like, blasts of intuition and creativity. And when I can really soften into it, whatever it is that I was wanting in the moment, I end up getting anyway, you know, it's just a different way through. So be open to the different ways through. If you find that you're doing it one way and you keep getting, you know, a door in the face or blowbacks, you know, or slippery energy, you know, listen to that energy. It's trying to speak to you, and that's how you collaborate with it. So sending so much love on this moon day, on all days, and I'll be back soon. Big love.